joy. I empower you to understand why you're here and how to live on purpose and in divine harmony. I interweave numerology, angel guides, astrology, theta healing, and coaching to guide you along your spiritual journey. Every week we have a discussion, and this week's discussion is, what part are you playing in today's division? So, this has been weighing heavily on my heart. I do spend time on social media, and every platform functions a little differently. And on some of the platforms, the divisiveness is greater than other platforms. And that's when I'm noticing a pattern with the people on social media, the people that I come in contact with, as well. And I also ask myself the same questions, because what's happening right now is a spiritual war, and we can't physically see it, and it's all playing out here on Earth in this 3D realm, and we're all impacted a little differently based on where we are along our spiritual journey. And so tonight, my intention is to give you tools to start showing up in a higher vibration and not play in the weeds, further creating this division. And I invite you, for those who are watching live, feel free to share in the comments, questions, anything that you'd like to discuss as we're going tonight. And for those who are listening to this on the podcast, on the audio, feel free to come back to this video on YouTube. I want to hear from you, what questions you have, how this resonates, and please share this with other people, because what is happening today, it's clear. It's, this is the first time it's really ever happened to this degree here in the United States. And my intention is always to empower you, to give you the tools to live your life, to live out your passions, and share your gifts with other people, because your gifts were given to you for a reason, and you're here for a special reason. And we need you right now. And you can't do both. You can't be out there helping other people, empowering others, and sharing your gifts, and be in this lower vibration energy and basically stuck in your ish. They're two totally separate vibrations. So again, my intention for tonight is to give you tools to start to raise your vibration. And who knows, maybe if you haven't had an awakening yet, then this will be the catalyst for it. And depending on where you are in your journey, this could also help you as well. And you are going to hear the cats in the background. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm in a lot of different groups. I follow a lot of different people. Doesn't matter the background. They could be Republican, Democrat, Libertarian, Independent. It's literally runs the gamut and culture of who I connect with throughout each social media platform. And one thing that I noticed, and I'm sharing this with you as food for thought, is think about, what is the intention of whoever is saying what they're saying. So what's the intentionality? Because that's where that tells you where our perspective is. And by the way, I'm going to encourage you to please read both sides. Read the rhetoric from both sides. I'm not even a fan that we're still here with two different sides, and that's a conversation for another day. But can you read something and ask yourself, I wonder what their intention was when they said this, when they did this, when they posted this, instead of getting triggered. Now I'm gonna give you a few examples, and these are things that I personally have encountered. So, first example is, some people say that wearing a mask is a muzzle. The government's trying to control us. Okay, so that's one intentionality or one perspective versus everyone should wear a mask because it's safe. And if you don't wear one, you're being selfish. So just ask yourself as you're starting to go through your day, and also notice too, are who are you hanging with? Are you hanging with only like-minded people? Or are you also encountering people who maybe you don't 100% always agree with, and there's still a mutual respect there? Um, we'll come back to that. All right, so another example that I came across about a week ago, here locally, actually, in a Facebook group, was transgender shouldn't be talked about and taught in schools. And it's kind of like, okay, I see that perspective. So what's the flip side of that, right? So what is the intention behind the fact that it is being taught in schools or it is being talked about in schools? And which is supporting the kids as they're trying to figure it out for themselves. Are you starting to see the pattern? It's very similar to a beautiful, gorgeous rose that has some thorns as well, and it could be hurt. And what's the intention behind the rose? All right, so my third example that I came across is you get the V or jab to protect yourself and others, or what we keep being told, do your part, versus you're making everyone else sick and are selfish. So I'm using those three because those are the three that I've encountered the most and are the most prevalent today. So so the first um the first thing I'm going to highly encourage you and invite you to do is to read both sides. Read both narratives. Um Epic Times, however you say it, EPOCH, is a news outlet that that is not. Hang on, I need to go get her. My apologies. All right, I'm back. This is what happens when we're live. They look at both sides. Also look at who they're owned by. So if you're only watching Fox News or CNN, can you diversify? And just start to listen and notice the narrative that is being told. And when you do this, can you also do it from a place that you're not triggered and you're coming at a place from curiosity? All right. So, I'm going to come back to that. The three examples I just gave, notice the difference in taking responsibility. Because a lot of what I'm hearing is there's blame and shame and a lot of victimhood right now is happening. And people don't want to take personal responsibility, and they think that there's other responsibility out there. How do I say it? It's almost like a blanket responsibility. So that you're making everyone else sick and that's selfish. That's a huge assumption that's being made. So if everybody took personal responsibility is a key for a lot of issues to go away. Um, Gary Vee actually did a recent video on TikTok I saw, and he even talked about that. How, the Gen X, which I'm Gen X, are blaming millennials, yet we're the ones that raised them. Where's the personal responsibility? And when we get into that blame and shame game, that's where we get into trouble and we start to go down rabbit holes. And it's going to lower your vibration just like that. You're not going to know what happened. So ask yourself, are you open to hearing other possibilities? I'll share with you, last year, I was encouraged to do this and to read both sides. And I did. I thought, what do I have to lose? Nothing, absolutely nothing. And at first, I found myself getting triggered. And then I realized, oh my word, I see the intentionality on both sides. I hear both arguments. I understand and can come from a different type of understanding with empathy and compassion, because that's how they feel. And that doesn't make it right or wrong. That's how they feel. And to truly honor where people are and show that respect. So the other question I have for you is, how do you feel after posting on social media? Are you arguing with other people on social media in their comments to their face after telling them how right they are, how wrong they are, or how right you are and how wrong they are? How are you feeling afterwards? Does it make you feel better? I don't know. For me, I don't feel any better. I feel worse, and then I feel bad, and then this is not a good, happy feeling. No. Are you proud of how you go after people, of what you're sharing on social media? I even had a friend who said, if you don't believe XYZ, get off my page. And I was like, whoa. And I saw that they were angry. And so I honor that and let it sit. So ask yourself, what's the agenda or intention behind what other people are posting, what you're posting, how you're interacting? And when you find yourself getting triggered, stop. Recognize that you're angry, recognize you're upset. Stop yourself from saying or doing something hurtful to the person in front of you. And it's so easy today to be what we call keyboard warriors. We all know this. It's so easy to verbally vomit all over a keyboard and get angry at somebody. And it's interesting when you start to come from curiosity. So especially when I start to come from curiosity, people today are really triggered by that. They don't like the fact that I encourage them or push them out of their comfort zone a little bit, or don't agree with them, because we so badly want people to agree with us. And it goes back to the I'm right, you're wrong. The good thing is I don't take this personally. I've learned over time that that's about that person and that they're working through something. And this is just them coming from fear without realizing it. Most of the conversations I've had, people say, well, I love you and I'm coming from love. And it's really fear and control. As Iyanla Van Zant says, you're either coming from love or fear. You can't have both, as I mentioned earlier. You can't have they're two totally different vibrations. And here's how I look at what's happening today. Is on the other side of this, we get to come together, showing each other grace and love and have respect for one another. And this is actually how we're going to get to the other side of the division. There really is no right or wrong. That's an old paradigm system that's rearing its ugly head for, hopefully, I am hoping, for the last time. In order for us to truly experience, some people call it the kingdom, the love, the oneness, we get to go through the dark night of the soul. And I really feel like that is what's happening right now with our country. Is the country is going through a dark night of the soul, and everything's got to come up to the surface. I always talk about it like a zit. It's got to come up from under the surface in order for us to pop it, in order for it to be healed. I was talking with a friend earlier today, and she said she felt like she felt like the world was turned upside down on its head because the blood is not going to the head when that happens. And I love that analogy. It does feel that way. Totally does. And she and I are not in 100% in agreement with everything, and we don't have to be. We can still hold space and love each other and support each other and take care of each other because she made a different choice than I did. It's okay. I honor that. And ask yourself, can you honor that? So, yes, this is essentially what's happening is, yes, it's a spiritual war. Yes, we are being called to have spiritual awakenings right now. Um, there is a way out of this matrix. There is. And part of that is we as a society, as a consciousness, get to wake up first. That's how we're going to get out of this matrix, out of this 3D reality, out of this victimhood. Because that's all I'm reading right now is victim. So, 3 things you can do right now to help you during this time. The first one is choice. Make a choice. Show up differently. Get curious. The curiosity is probably my favorite because when that was shared with me several years ago, it totally changed everything. And judgment is literally an energy wall for us versus curiosity opens up that door for us. It's literally the key to open up that energy door. And so, can you ask yourself, isn't that interesting? I wonder what their intention was for that. Or just, you can just simply ask a question. That's what curiosity is. That's interesting. Access consciousness says to ask that question 10 times. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And when you do that, you'll start to notice the energy shift in your body. Again, part of choice is read both sides. I hear so often, well, so and so said, or according to so and so, and it's like, okay, did you ever think that they were coming from a different place? And did you ever go seek it out, what it was, or go ask them? And part of choice is stop accusing others thinking that you know 100% all the facts because nobody does. That was a question posed to me a few months ago. Um, and, well, what do you think XYZ is? And I said, I don't think anybody knows because I really don't. They always say there's 3 sides to the story. Now, do I think that the truth will come out? It always does. May not be in my lifetime, and it always comes out. Always. In my experience, the truth always comes out. The second thing that you can do right now to not be a part of the divisiveness is awareness. When you become aware that you're being triggered, ask yourself, what's triggering me? That anytime we're triggered, that gives us a chance to shift. So ask yourself, what is triggering you? Ask yourself, how are you feeling? And then start to notice, what are you creating around you? Are you creating love or are you creating division? Notice the conversations that you're having. Are you complaining the entire time or shaming other people, making fun of other people? By the way, that was most of my childhood. That's a big reason why I'm doing the work that I'm doing today to help you. The whole making fun of other people, that is not my thing. It's just not. It didn't feel good when I experienced it, when I was on the other end of it. And ask yourself, what do you want to create? Maybe you enjoy being the victim or being in the victim triangle. And that's not who you are. It's just a learned behavior. The third thing you can do right now is action. Take action to heal. Take action to learn and potentially show up differently. Theta healing sessions can help you move through your triggers. We can uncover where it was. Where did it first start? Help you heal some of that past trauma. That's what's triggering us. We've all experienced trauma. That's what's coming up for a lot of people right now is unhealed past trauma. And it's simply being spewed all over everybody else. And that's creating more division. So as I was thinking through, okay, this is on my heart to share, I realized on the flip side, maybe this division is what is needed for us all to come together. In my experience, I don't know. Does anybody really know? I think so. What I do find interesting is that a lot of people that I saw on social media calling for unity during the Black Lives Matters movement are the ones who are creating the division today. And that boggles my mind. You can't have it both ways. It's either unity or it's not. And I feel like a lot of people today just don't even realize that they're creating this unity or this division, which is why I want to have this conversation. And I'd love to hear from you. Do you realize how you're playing a part in creating this division and, frankly, widening the gap of the division instead of bringing everybody around you together? How can you stop shaming other people, arguing with them, telling them that you're right and that they're wrong? Notice how you're showing up. Remember, this is about a spiritual awakening. Have you done your work? Where are you along your journey? Spiritual awakening, in my experience, all starts with the relationship with yourself. That little child inside of you just wants to be loved and nurtured and heard. How would you feel if you were on the receiving end of that encounter of shame? Y'all, this life is short. Everything is temporary. Everything is temporary, including the happy times. What choice are you going to make today? Would you like to help heal your triggers, your past traumas? Reach out to me. Let's get you into a theta healing session. Are you looking for a community to help you along your spiritual journey? A place of fellowship? The Ring of Fire community offers you new tools every single month and a way to take action and implement them into your life. 2, shift your vibration to focus on the unity, the oneness, the love. I will share with you, we get the choice. We're either going to go kicking and screaming or we're going to show up and we're going to do her work. That's what's happening right now. And I ask you, which one will you choose? Thank you all so much for joining.